Yes, sir.
Yeah, coming to today's topic. Yesterday we have completed the assertions, and the day before that we have been completed the correlations and post process and all. And today I am starting the topic parameterization. What is this parameterization? So why we need to use the parameterization in the JMeter? How we can do the parameterization? So these are the things I am going to discuss today. Okay. So first let me tell you, so why parameterization is required, what is parameterization, why parameterization is required. Okay. See, whatever the static input you are giving to the server, those should be parameterized. Whatever the static input you are giving to the server, that should be parameterized. See, what, okay. So what it mean? I am entering, okay, so I am entering the URL of my application, okay, like Flipkart, okay. So this you can parameterize. Why? Because you are entering this flipkart.com, so using your keyboard, right? So FLIPKARTD .com, okay. So like all the letters, okay, all the letters you have entered, so using your keyboard. So therefore what you can do, you can parameterize this URL, okay. So this you can parameterize. After clicking on the enter, you see you have been landed on the page, okay. So now here you can see you are clicking on the mobile, so you are not entering any details over here, just you are doing some click operation. So that is not required, parameter is not required for that. Here you can see search field, okay. Here I am entering like jeans, okay. So this is the input which I am giving using my keyboard, okay. Using my keyboard I am giving the, so I am giving the input to the server. See, I have given jeans, and I'm going to click on the enter button. See here you can see the products related to jeans. So how it is coming over here, so whatever the keyword you have given jeans, okay, so that keyword is reached to the server, and server is giving the matching results over here. See, 2,47,000 results have been appeared over here, okay, on the search jeans, okay. So you have given the keyword like jeans, so based on that keyword the server is giving this many product results over here, okay. So whatever the keyword you have given here jeans, so this can be parameterized. Why? Because so that is the input you have given to the server, okay. So you have given to the server, so this can be parameterized. ఎందుకు పారామీటరైజేషన్ చేయాలి, ఓకే. సో ఇన్ ద రియల్ టైమ్ the people they can search for the jeans, the people they can search for the what shirts, they can search for the round neck t-shirts, they can search for the chappal, they can search for the anything, so whatever the product it may be, so they can search for their own interest, as per their own interest. I can search for the sandal, okay. So I can search for the sandals, so you can get the results which are related to sandals. See, okay. So that therefore the input it may vary, okay. The input, whatever the input you are giving here, the input it may vary, so based on the user, or based on the who yeah, so you can consider user only. So based on the user input, okay, interest, he can give multiple things over here. So therefore simply I can say whatever the thing you are entering here using your keyboard, so that can be parameterized, okay. So here the sandal it can parameterize, okay. So like here click on the login, okay. Here you can see mobile number, password, these two will be there. So this mobile number and password, so different will be there. So let us assume, so too many users are accessing your application. So let us assume I am accessing this application, okay. So I do have my own mobile number, okay. Let us assume you are accessing your Flipkart, you do have your own mobile number, okay. So everybody is having their own credentials, so therefore whatever entering you are here, the mobile number or password, so this can be parameterized. Your mobile number and your password, those can be parameterized here, okay. So next, just click on this new to Flipkart and create account, okay. Here you can see enter mobile number. Here you are entering your mobile number, right? So using your keyboard, so this can be parameterized, okay. So like that, whatever the input you are giving over there, so those inputs you can parameterize. So inputs ante here again I need to give one clarity. So should be entered by you. Okay, so should be, you should be typed something over here whenever you are recording, whatever you are recording. So whatever the inputs you are giving to the server, okay, so that inputs what you can do, you can parameterize. Okay, let me show you. Okay, let me go with our pet store. Okay, so I am going with pet store application. Here I have entered the URL, so using keyboard, right? PETSTORE octoper.com. So that input we have given, so using our keyboard, so therefore this can be parameterized. Okay, so coming to once you have been launched your application, now you are on the application where you can see welcome to JPET store something something. Okay, so now just I am going to click on the enter the store. Here there is no chance to parameterize. So why? Because parameterization in the sense whatever the static input you are giving to the server, so that we will call as a parameterization. Here you are not giving any input, you are not entering anything over here, just you are doing one click operation here, that's all. Okay, you are not entering anything over there, okay, using your keyboard. So I am just clicking on the enter the store. Okay, so once you have been redirected to the store or dashboard, here you can see fish. Okay, so just what I am doing, I am doing the clicking operation, that's all. So not required, parameterization is not required over there. Here you can see angel fish, tiger fish, many things you can see. Just click on the angel fish. Here also you are doing the clicking operation, the parameterization is required, not required. Okay, so here angelfish you can see two items you can see. I want to purchase this item, so click on this EST1. Okay, click on add to cart. So whatever clicking operations you are doing over here, so parameterization is not required for that. So click on the add to cart. Here you can see quantity. Some people they can purchase 1, some people they can purchase 2, some people they can purchase 10, some people they can purchase 100 as well. So based on their requirement they can purchase any number of fishes they can purchase. Okay, so therefore whatever the quantity you have entered, how you have entered the quantity over here, so you are entering the quantity, so using your keyboard, so therefore this quantity can be parameterized. Okay, so click on the proceed to checkout. Okay, here it is asking for the username and password. So username and password you are entering using your keyboard, so therefore so that can be parameterized, and password also I am entering using my keyboard, so that can be parameterized. Click on the login. Okay, here the login is a what, the clicking operation, you no need to do the parameterization for that. Okay, so whatever the input you are giving, okay, see there is a search field. What I am doing, just I am searching for the fish. So how I am searching, I have given the, okay, so I have given the word called fish over there. Okay, so I have entered FISH using my keyboard. Okay, so then I'm going to click on the fish. Okay, see I'm getting the search results related to fish. Hello? So here based on the input whatever you have entered, so based on that you are getting the response. So this is the input which you have given here in the search box by you, right? So that is the static word you have given. So using your finger and using your keyboard you have been entered that one. So this keyword you can parameterize. Okay, simply I can say whatever you are typing while you are recording, so that can be parameterized. Okay, so this story and all not required, simply you can recognize in that way. Okay, so while recording your script, whatever the things you are typing, okay, whatever the things, whatever the input you are typing, so that you can parameterize. Okay, now I will show you. Okay, so I'll record the script and I'll show you, so what and all things were present in the script and how you can recognize, so what to parameterize and what not to parameterize. Okay, so in the interview the people they will ask you what is parameterization. Okay, so parameter is nothing but, so whatever the static input you are giving to the server, okay, so that static variables or static values we need to parameterize. Let us assume for example there is a login scenario, so username and password, so there is different usernames, there is different passwords for all the users. Okay, let us assume I am the user, I do have my own credentials, username and password will be there. Okay, somebody is accessing the same application like Flipkart application, So for him also there is a separate credentials like a phone number and mobile this one password will be there. Like that for each and every people whoever accessing that particular application, so there will be a separate credentials. Okay, so I will tell you that. Okay, I don't want to confuse you. First let me show you how you can do that and then I'll explain. Okay, so you know how to record, right? So right click on the test plan, mouse around to the add the HTTP descript recorder. Okay, and yeah, right click on the descript recorder and add the listener view registry. It will act like a recording time log. Okay, so next right click on the test plan, mouse around to that, add the thread group. You know, without adding the thread group, you cannot execute your script. Okay, so target controller, you can change it to test plan thread group and grouping. So you can select to put each group in a new transaction controller. Okay, so before going to click on the start button, so make sure that you have been launched this Firefox targeted browser. Okay, so now go to your JMeter, just click on the start button. So initiate your recording. Okay, so root certificate is generated. Okay, so click on OK. So next, so go to your targeted browser. Okay, so here T01 underscore, so give launch. Hey, muskombo. Okay, so enter your application URL. You know how to do and all. Okay, so here you have entered this one URL. How you have entered? So using your keyboard you have been entered, right? So this can be parameterized. Okay, so here already you have entered, that's why the search results it is coming automatically, right? So for the first time you are using using your application, at the time what you need to do, you need to type over there, right? So HTTPS like this, so pet store something you need to type over there. So once you have typed, then only it will come over there. So ఇప్పుడు టైప్ చేయలేదు అనుకోవద్దు మీరు, ఆల్రెడీ we have typed, that's why it is showing like that. So therefore the URL can be parameterized. Okay, so URL can be parameterized. Next, so launching is done. So next is T02. Okay, so enter the next transaction. So enter the store. Here you can see I am going to click on the enter the store. I am not giving any input over here using my keyboard and all. So just I am doing a clicking operation. So therefore there is not required, the parameter is not required for this particular thing. Enter the store. Okay. Now what I am going to do, I am going to do one search operation over here. Okay, or else I'll do one sign in over here. So sign in. Okay, T03 underscore sign in. Okay, so click on the sign in. This is the clicking operation. What is this? Clicking operation. So you can ignore it. So parameter is not required for this sign in operation. Okay, so once you have been so you can see now you have been landed on the sign in page. Here you are entering username and password. How you are entering username and password? So using keyboard. So this for therefore J2EE you can parameterize, and password also you are entering using your keyboard J2EE. So that also you can parameterize. So okay. So now I'm going to click on the login. So here you are not giving input, just you are doing clicking operation on the login. Okay. Username you have entered manually and password also you have entered manually. So these two you can, okay, you can parameterize. Click on the login. Okay. I think there is some issue with the pet store. You can ignore it. So click on the stop button. So I have stopped the recording and all. So go to your JMeter and double click on the thread group, and now you can see we have recorded our things and all. So you can, what you can do, you can filter your scripts. You know how to filter and all, right? So you can filter your JMeter script. Okay. So And incoming telemetry Firefox. Tracking protection. What is this stupid things? Google. Pet store, pet store. This one, pet store. Okay, so pet store. See. So now whatever you have entered, so those things will be there in the script. Okay, I'll show you. So you have entered the server name petstore.octopub.com. So that will be there over here. In all the requests that will be there. See, petstore.octopub.com, petstore.octopub.com. Okay, so that is the URL which we have given at the beginning. Okay, we have given petstore.octopub.com, right? So using our keyboard we have been entered. So therefore this can be parameterized. Okay, so that URL can be parameterized. Next, so while sign in, you have given you username and password you have been entered. So using your keyboard. So these two can be parameterized. Okay, so these two can be parameterized. So next, yeah, that's all. So whatever we have been entered, so that can be parameterized, right? So manually whatever the input you have given, so that can be parameterized over here. సో ఇక్కడ చూస్తున్నాం మరి సోర్స్ పేజ్ని ఎఫ్పిని ఎందుకు పారామీటరేషన్ చేయకూడదు అంటే ఓకే సో యూ హ్యావ్ నాట్ ఎంటర్ ది సోర్స్ పేజ్ అండ్ ఎఫ్పి రిమెంబర్ ఓకే యూ హ్యావ్ నాట్ గివెన్ సోర్స్ పేజ్ అండ్ ఎఫ్పి సో these two should be correlated. Okay, so 2 to 3 days back we have seen, right? So 2 to 3 days back we have seen, okay, how to do the correlation for the source page and FP. Okay, at the time I have not explained you about username and password. Why? Because now I am explaining. So username and password, so those two are we have been entered so using our keyboard while recording. So therefore these two can be parameterized. Okay, so this is the way how you can find out which is to be parameterized and which is to be not parameterized. Okay, so from the beginning I will come. So this you can see petstore.octopus.com. So that you have been entered manually. Okay, using your keyboard you have been entered. So therefore this can be parameterized. If you want to parameterize this protocol also, you can parameterize, no issue. You can parameterize. Okay, so next, come to the next one, next request. Here also you can see the server name will be present over there. There is no other things over here. Okay, so which you have been entered manually. Okay, manual గా ఎంటర్ చేసినవి ఇంకా వేరేటి ఏవీ లేదు. Next, go to the next request. Here you can see petstore.octopub.com. Okay, so that you can parameterize, and you can see one number over here. Okay, bcd something you can see in the where in the URL, right? So in the path you can see. So this you have not entered using your keyboard. That is automatically generated. So that's why what we did, so we did correlation for that. Okay, so remember, so మనం correlation చేసాం దానికి. Okay, so we have correlated that one. Why you have correlated that one? You have not entered this particular ID, okay, while you are recording your script. Okay, so that is automatically created by your server. So therefore this can be correlated. Okay, so next, go to next action, next request. Here you can see petstore.octopub.com. So that is entered by you manually, you have been entered. So using your keyboard you have been entered. So therefore this can be parameterized. Okay, coming to next thing. So there is no, in the path also there is no dynamic value, there is no number and nothing, you can ignore it. Coming to parameters, here username, how you have entered the username. So using your keyboard you have been entered. Whatever the input you have given while recording, the same input it will come and it will sit over here. See, you have entered J2EE while recording. So therefore same thing, it is recorded as a username. Okay, so password is also you have given the same thing, and you can see that is recorded and it is showing like password is J2EE. So these two you have been given as a input to the server. Server ki మీరు input గా ఇచ్చారు. So therefore these two can be parameterized. Okay, so coming to login, this is the clicking operation, you can ignore it. Coming to source page, you have not entered that one. Okay, while recording you have not entered the source page and fp, so those two are written by the server. Okay, so that is generated by the server. Okay, therefore these two can be parameterized. See, so many people, they will confuse what to correlate, what not to correlate and all. So this is the way how you can recognize what to correlate, what to parameterize. Okay, so whatever the input you have given while recording, so that you can parameterize, simply I can say. Okay, so go through your script. Okay, so walk through your script or go through your script and find out, so what parameters you have given to the server. Server ki మీరు ఏమి ఇచ్చారు, సో మీరు ఇచ్చేటి ఏవైతే డేటా you are giving to the server, whatever the data you are giving to the server, so that can be parameterized over here. URL you have given to the server, that you can parameterize. Okay, and path you have not given, so path it is redirecting automatically. Let me show you. Okay, so for the first time only you have entered this pet store. Okay, pet store https petstore.com. So this first time only you are entering. So whenever you are clicking on the enter the store, automatically the path, okay, it will change over here. The URL after .com it will change, that we will call as a path. See, the path it is changing. So don't correlate this one, don't parameterize that one, that is not required. So always see in each and URL, each and every link, petstore.octoper.com is the common. Click wherever you want. Okay, see, petstore.octoper.com, it do not change. Click on any link, okay, on that particular thing. Okay, click on anything. So see, petstore.octoper.com, it do not change. So what it mean, you can parameterize this. Okay, so whatever the input you have given at the time of recording at the beginning, that is the URL, you can parameterize that. Okay, so that you can remember, simply you can remember. Okay, సింపుల్గా చెప్పాలంటే మీరు కీబోర్డ్తో టైప్ చేసేది ఏమేమి టైప్ చేస్తున్నారో అది మొత్తం మీకు స్క్రిప్ట్లో ఉంటుంది. ఓకే, యూ కెన్ parameterize those. Getting right? So whatever the input you are giving, okay, to the server by typing, okay, by typing, again I am saying, using your keyboard you are typing something while recording, so that will be present in your script, like your username, like your password, like your server name. Okay, so that things will be present in the script, so that can be parameterized. So this is the story behind of the parameterization, what to parameterize, what not to parameterize. Okay, so now I will tell you how to do parameterization. Okay, so far I have been explained how you can recognize what to parameterize. Okay, now I will tell you how you can parameterize. Okay, actually the parameterization, so there are 3 types will be there. Let me open the notepad. In the interview the people, they will ask you how many types we can do the parameterization. Okay, so parameterization types. Parameterization. Okay, so whatever the static input you are giving to the server using your keyboard, so that can be parameterized. So coming to the types, okay, so user defined variables you can use for the parameterization. User defined variable, variables. Okay, so you can use user defined variable. Okay, so and you can use CSV dataset config. Okay, CSV dataset config. Okay, you can use for the parameterization. So next one, you can use user parameters. Okay, so user parameters. Okay, so you can use these and all are the 3 methods we do have to do the parameterization. So one is the user defined variable, second one is the CSV dataset config, and third one is the user parameters. What is the difference between these 3? Okay, difference ఏంటి? So ఒకటి ఉంటే సరిపోతుందా అంటే no. Okay, so whenever we are having the single entity, at the time we can use user defined variable, single entity, entity. Okay, entity. Okay, so single entity or single data. Okay, at the time we can use the user defined variable. So whenever you are having the multiple sets of data, multiple sets of data. At the time you can use the user CSV data set config. So whenever you have the limited sets of data, limited data, okay, at the time you can use user parameters. I'll go one by one so that you can understand. Just I'm giving the overview of that. Okay. So parameterization we can do in three ways. One is the user defined variable, second is the CSV data set config, and third one is user parameters. Okay. So first I'll explain the single data. What is the single entity and all. So then I'll go to CSV data. Okay. So I'll go with user defined variable. Okay. So I'll tell you first what is single data, single entity. You can see in each and every request the server name is same. You can see server name is same in the all the request. You can see server name is same. petstore.octopuff.com, petstore.octopuff.com, go to next request, petstore.octopuff.com, go to next request, petstore.octopuff.com. See, okay, so in each and every request there will be a petstore.octopuff.com will be there. So that is same, right? That is the single entity. Okay, we are having only one input to pass as a server name. Therefore, I can call that as a single entity or single data. Okay, so I do have the single data only. I need to pass single data as a input. So therefore, what you can do, you can use user defined variable for the parameterization purpose. Okay, so ఇక్కడ కొంచెం కన్ఫ్యూజ్ అవుతారు కొందరు, ఎందుకు దానికి సింగిల్ ఎంటిటీనే అంటున్నాడు అని. ఓకే, say I am asking you to launch Flipkart. Which URL you can use? Anyone they can use flipkart.com only. I am launching the same thing over here in my browser. So what I can use? I can use the same one only. Okay. So Flipkart application I can use same URL only. అంతేగాని Flipkart application this is the URL related to Madhu/Madhu అని కొడితే Flipkart Madhu వస్తుంది, లేదా ఇనాయత్ అయితే /ఇనాయత్ అని పెడితే వస్తుంది, అలా ఉండదు. ఓకే, సో దేర్ ఫోర్ the URL whatever you are giving here, whatever you are entering here flipkart.com, that URL is common to each and every guy whoever accessing that particular application. Okay, so this is the single entity. So this is common to throughout the globe. Okay, this is common to all the users. So therefore I can say that is the single entity. Okay, single entity variable. So single entity variables, what you can do to parameterize, we can use user defined variable. Go to your test plan. Remember, while I am explaining about the test plan, I left this user defined variable. I told you that whenever I am explaining about the parameterization, at the time I'll explain like that. I told you, right? So now I'll explain this user defined variable over here. Okay, see, under this section you can see two subsections, name and value. You can see under this user defined. Okay, just click on the add. Here you can see one button. Okay, click on the add. So one row is added over here. Okay, so what is this name? What is the value? Okay, so I'll explain now. Okay, so value means what you need to pass. This is the value. Copy this value from here, server name, and go to your test plan and and paste over that in under the value. Paste over that under the value. So that is the value. So now instead of this petstore.octopuff.com, I want to keep as a server name. Some name over there. Okay, so server name I have given, or URL you can give, or anything you can give based on your okay, like URL as well. Okay, you can give anything over there. So what it means, so now I want to consider petstore.octopuff.com as a URL. Okay, URL ni em chestunanu, URL equal to petstore.octopuff.com. Now in the script I can pass, instead of this petstore.octopuff.com, I can pass URL. Wherever I want, I can pass URL like that. Okay, so appudu emoutundi, instead of the URL, the petstore.octopuff.com can be passed over there. Okay, so URL place lo petstore.octopuff.com pass avutundi. Okay, so now I'll tell you how you can do that. Okay, see, so remove this petstore.octopuff.com. So why? Because already you have been mentioned that petstore.octopuff.com here under the value, under the user defined variable, and that name is URL. Okay, copy this URL from here, Control A, Control C, go to here in the script and remove this petstore.octopuff.com from here and keep $symbol, flower bracket open, Control V, flower bracket close. So this is the proper syntax which we can use a used to pass a parameter. Already we have been discussed that while I am explaining about the correlation, I have been discussed out there. Okay, dollar symbol betti manam rasam. Like the similar way, we will follow the syntax over here. Dollar flower bracket open, URL flower bracket close. Why I have given the URL here? Why not other? మిగతాది ఏది ఇవ్వకుండా URL ఎందుకు ఇచ్చాను? So I have been mentioned that URL and the name, right? URL as a name and value is petshow.octopub.com. I have been mentioned under the user defined variable section. So therefore here what I did, so using dollar flower bracket open URL, okay, flower bracket I have been closed over here. So instead of this URL, so this petshow.octopub.com can be passed over there. If you want, I will show you. Okay, so I will show you that. So dollar flower bracket open URL. Okay, so let me add one view results tree because we need to see the response, right? I mean request response both, right? So I have added the view results tree. Okay, so now see. So request is executed. Click on the request and click on the request body. See here, you are able to see the request, right? So petshow.octopub.com. How you got petshow.octopub.com here? In the request I have been mentioned like only URL here, dollar flower bracket URL I have been mentioned. Okay, so but you can see instead of the URL place lo you can see petshow.octopub.com present over there. Okay, see, you can see petshow.octopub.com is presented over here. How it is present over there? You did the parameterization. Okay, you did the parameterization using the user defined variable. Okay, so you mentioned like URL is nothing but URL is equal to petshow.octopub.com. How you are calling that URL in from the script? Okay, so you have mentioned like this dollar flower bracket open URL flower bracket close. So therefore JMeter, it can identify by seeing this dollar symbol, it can identify, okay, I want to pass something variable over here. So what is the variable I need to pass? URL. So it will search for the URL where it is present in the script. Okay, script లో ఎక్కడ ప్రజెంట్ అయి ఉంది ఆ URL కోసం వెతుకుతుంది. Okay, in the test plan here you can see URL we do have. So URL అంటే ఏంటి? What is the value of this URL? petshow.octopub.com. So therefore instead of this URL petshow.octopub.com can be passed over there. అలాగా పాస్ అవుతుంది. So like the similar way what you need to do, so you need to do for all the server names, అన్ని సర్వర్ నేమ్స్కి చేయాలి. సో వాట్ ఇట్ మీన్, మీకు సపరేట్గా యాడ్ చేయాలని కాదు, సపరేట్గా ఇంకొకటి URL1 అని పెట్టి ఇక్కడ యాడ్ చేసి ఓకే ఇక్కడ పెట్టాలని కాదు. ఆల్రెడీ వాట్ ఎవర్ యూ హ్యావ్ బీన్ యాడెడ్ హియర్ యూ కెన్ యూజ్ ద సేమ్ URL అండ్ యూ కెన్ కాల్ ద సేమ్ URL సర్వర్ నేమ్ టు హియర్. ఓకే, ఇక్కడ petshow.com ఉంది, అక్కడ URL పెట్టచ్చు, ఇక్కడ ఉంది, ఇక్కడ URL పాస్ చేయొచ్చు, ఇక్కడ ఉంది, ఇక్కడ URL పాస్ చేయొచ్చు, ఇక్కడ ఉంది, ఇక్కడ URL పాస్ చేయొచ్చు. హౌ యూ కెన్ డూ దట్? మల్టిపుల్ టైమ్స్ ఇట్ ఈస్ ప్రజెంట్ ఓవర్ దేర్. హౌ యూ కెన్ డూ? ఓకే, యూ కెన్ యూజ్ ద సెర్చ్ టెక్నిక్. ఓకే, సో మనం దీని ప్లేస్లో ఏం చేయాలి, దాని ప్లేస్లో URLతో రీప్లేస్ చేయాలి. హౌ యూ కెన్ డూ? Control F. Okay, so you can, you know, right, search. Here you have search. Okay, you can click on the search. See, we are searching for this petshow.octopub.com. So wherever the petshow.octopub.com is present, so there what we need to do, so we need to replace with this dollar flower bracket URL something we need to replace. So therefore that is replacing by something. Okay, see, so instead of this one what I need to do, dollar flower bracket open URL flower bracket close రాయాలి అన్నిటికీ. Okay, so I am using searching technique over here. I am searching for this particular thing petshow.octopub.com and I am replacing that with dollar flower bracket open URL. Okay, so just click on the replace all. Okay, see, so wherever that petshow.octopub.com is present, so there that will be replaced by this dollar flower bracket open URL. If you want you can go and check. Okay, see, that is the second request. Click on the third request, click on the fourth request, click on the fifth request. You can see, so wherever that petshow.octopub.com will be there, so that can be replaced by dollar flower bracket open URL. Okay, this is the way how you can parameterize the single entity. Okay, so ఎందుకు చేశారు అలాగా? You have been configured here, user defined variable you have been created. Okay, so what it mean, the value you have been taken from the script, that is petshow.octopub.com. Okay, దానికి ఒక నేమ్ ఇచ్చాం మనం. What is the name of that particular value? you have given that as a URL here. Okay, so now what you did parameterized for parameterization for that server name. Okay, so ఎలా చేశారు మీరు? Before that, here we have the petshow.octopub.com. Okay, ఇక్కడ ఏముంది? petshow.octopub.com ఇలాగా ఉంది. octopub.com something we do have here. So దాన్ని ఏం చేశారు? You have removed everything from here and you kept like dollar flower bracket open, so URL and flower bracket close. Okay, don't forget. So here the variable names and all are the case sensitive. ఇక్కడ స్మాల్ లెటర్స్ ఇక్కడ ఎంటర్ చేశారంటే, సో టెస్ట్ ప్లాన్లో కూడా ఇక్కడ యూజర్ డిఫైన్ వేరియబుల్ హియర్ ఆల్సో యూ షుడ్ బి ఎంటర్డ్ స్మాల్ లెటర్స్ ఓన్లీ. ఇక్కడ క్యాపిటల్ లెటర్స్ రాసి ఇక్కడ స్మాల్ లెటర్స్ రాస్తే ఇట్ డు నాట్ వర్క్. ఓకే, సో ఆల్ ద URLs ఆర్ all the variables whatever we are using in the JMeter, so those should be case sensitive. So case sensitive variables. Okay, so should be mere capital ante capital, small ante small, so everything you need to use the same thing only. Okay, so don't use the remaining things and all. మీరు అలా వాడారంటే సో ద యూజర్ డిఫైన్ వేరియబుల్ ఇట్ డు నాట్ వర్క్. ఓకే, సో వర్క్ అవ్వదు అది. Okay, so this is the way how you can do the parameterization for the single entity. I'll show you one more thing by taking one more example. So port number you do have here, right? So port number you can see in each and every request we do have the same port number. If you want you can check it out. Okay, you can see port number also same we have in all the requests. So now I'll tell you how you can do the parameterization for the port number. Okay, so port number, copy this port number from here, Control A, Control C, go to your test plan. Okay, so click on the test plan and click on the add. So we want to add one more row here. Okay, click on the add. So one row is added here. So under the value, paste over your value. Okay, 443. So whatever the value you have been captured, you have been taken from here, you need to paste that under the value. I have been pasted that under the value, and I am giving the name over here by saying that port number. Okay, I have given port number, PORT I have given. See, so first I have taken the value from the script like 443 I have taken, and I have given the name. This name you can give anything. Okay, you can give anything. You can give like P underscore port number you can give. So what is this P underscore? Okay, P means parameterization. Remember, while we are doing the correlation, I have taken C underscore. So what it means? So you are doing correlation. Okay, here I have given P underscore. What it means? So it is a parameterization. Okay, so like that you can follow in your own way. So there is no restriction like so you need to follow in the same direction only. Ala ekkada ledu. Okay, so based on your requirement, based on your interest, you can give any name over there. Okay, any name you can give over here. So but I have given the meaningful name here. Okay, so why? Because this 443 is the what? So that is the port number. So that's why I have given like port. Here petshow.octopub.com. What is that? That is the URL. So therefore I have given URL over here. If you want to give server name, yes, instead of this server name you can give what we can give server name you can give instead of this URL. Okay, so you can give like that. Okay, so now so port number. Okay, so I want to do the parameterization. How I can do? You copy this P underscore port number from here, whatever the name you have given. So that copy that name from here and go to your script. Okay, here instead of this port number what we need to do? So we need to pass a parameter. Etla pass chesamu? Dollar flower bracket open, Control V, flower bracket close. This is the syntax which we can use to pass a parameter, right? So P underscore port. Why I have entered P underscore port over here? So in the test plan under the user defined variable, so related to this port number 443, I have given the name as P underscore okay port. So that's why I have taken this as a name, okay, variable name, and I have been pasted over here. So basically here the port number 443 will be there, right? So I have removed the 443 dollar symbol, flower bracket open, Control V, flower bracket close. That's all. Now you can see what about the remaining request and all. In the remaining request also 443 will be there. Okay, so how you can do that? Simply Control F. Okay, so Control F, we are going to search for this 443, right? So enter 443 over here and you are going to replace that by, okay, so replace that by what? So dollar open, control V, flower bracket close. Okay, so that is the what? So parameter we need to pass instead of this 443. Okay, so just click on the replace all. That's all. Okay, so now close this one and go and check in each and every request. See, everywhere you can see the port number has been changed to dollar. Okay, flower bracket open P underscore port number. So those have been changed. Okay. So this is the way how you can do parameterization for the single entity variables. Okay. See, in all the requests you can see server name port number we have been changed, and we have been configured parameterization JSON. Okay. Like the similar way if you want you can do for the username and passwords as well. So username and password also as of now, so you can consider those two as a single entity. Let us assume there is no multiple inputs now. సో మల్టిపుల్ ఇన్పుట్స్ లేవు అనుకుందాం ఇప్పుడు. ఓకే, సో మల్టిపుల్ ఇన్పుట్స్ లేవు అనుకుందాం. అప్పుడు ఏం చేస్తాము? సో దట్ యూజర్ నేమ్ అండ్ పాస్వర్డ్ ఆల్సో వాట్ యూ కెన్ డూ. సో యూ కెన్ పారామీటరైజ్. వద్దుమా. So you can parameterize it. So the username and password also assume. So we do have only single entity. So there is no multiple usernames and there is no multiple passwords as of now. Okay. So your requirement is you are testing with a single user only. Okay. So at the time what you can do. So assume this username is a single entity and password is also a single entity. So now we need to do parameterization for this username and this password as well. So how we can do the parameterization? Can someone help me on this? I want to do the parameterization for this username. How I can do that? Any input from anybody?
Sir, go and user defined variables.
Yeah. So user defined.
Test plan. Sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Add
Yeah. Add.
options.
Yeah.
P underscore username, sir. Here, sir. Name site, sir.
Okay. P underscore
Username.
username. Okay.
Value side.
Value
Copy and
side.
paste, sir. That side.
Value
Here.
side.
J2EE, sir.
Yeah. So you need to copy from here and you need to paste over here. Huh?
That's it.
Yeah. So under value pasted. Next.
Combine backside, sir. కాపీ అండ్ పేస్ట్ అక్కడ డాలర్ అని పెట్టి ఇక్కడ యూజర్ నేమ్ పేస్ట్ చేసి అయిపోతుంది.
యా, యూజర్ నేమ్ ని కాపీ చేసుకోవాలా.
అవును.
నెక్స్ట్
మళ్ళీ ఇంకోటి యాడ్ చేయాలి.
ఇక్కడ యూజర్ నేమ్ చేంజ్ చేయాలి సార్.
కూడా యాడ్ చేయాలి.
J2EE రిమూవ్ చేయాలి. నెక్స్ట్ ఎలా పాస్ చేయాలి ఇక్కడ?
డాలర్ ఇవ్వండి సార్.
ఎస్, డాలర్
colon
bracket open, control V, flower bracket close. That's all.
yes sir.
Yeah. Ikkada here the username and password are both are same only. Okay, so J2EE only, right? So you can use the same thing over here. So ఇదే యూజర్ నేమ్ ఉంది కదా, సో దీన్నే కాపీ చేసుకొని కింద ఇచ్చేయచ్చు. యూ కెన్ రిమూవ్ దిస్ J2EE and you can paste over here like this. If not, what you can do, okay, if not what you can do, here we have J2EE, right? So if you want you can create one more variable for the password as well. Okay, now I have created the user. Okay, I have created the user, so the username and password both I have given same only. So next time whenever I am creating my username and password, so those two it may different, so who knows. So therefore in such scenarios what you can do, so you can create one more parameter over here. చేయాలి password కి. Wanna give the input, you can give or else you can go on mute. సో పాస్వర్డ్కి కూడా చేయాలి అంటున్నాను నేను. ఎలా చేయొచ్చు ఇప్పుడు? Copy this J2EE, whatever you have been entered. Okay, so go to test plan, click on add. So you can paste over here under the value, and here I am giving like name as a P underscore password. Okay, so So p underscore password. So now copy this p underscore password from here and go to your script and remove this j2w from here and dollar flower bracket open, control V, flower bracket close. That's all. Okay. So like this, whatever the single input entities will be there, so those single entities and all, what you can do, so you can parameterize. Okay, so using user defined variable. Okay, so you can parameterize that. So this is the simple technique which you can follow and which you can identify. So what to parameterize. But so far I have been explaining you for the single entity variables only using user defined variable. Okay, so let me show you. Yeah, so while recording, okay, so while recording, so what we have been entered, so you have been entered the URL, so that we have been identified and that you have been parameterized. But port number ఎందుకు చేశారు అంటే in the real time whenever you are working on the applications and all, at the time you should be parameterized for the port number as well. Okay, that's why I have been shown you here. So you are okay, here you are recording at the time of recording, automatically the port number is captured by your JMeter. We have been not entered the port number, but the port number is same in all the requests. You can see in all the request port number 443, it is recorded over there. So therefore what you can do, so that port number you can parameterize it, no issue. Okay, so coming to the things. Okay, so next, sign in. Whenever you are signing into the application, you can see username and passwords you have been entered like j2w and all. So as of now I am considering those two as a single entity. Okay, single entity, like a single entity only I have been considered, and I have parameterized those two. Okay, సో మనం ఏం చేయాలి, పారామీటరేషన్ కాన్సెప్ట్ ఏంటి అంటే, సి వాట్ ఎవర్ యు ఆర్ గివింగ్ టు ద సర్వర్, మీరు రికార్డ్ చేసేటప్పుడు మీరు టైప్ చేస్తున్నారో, ఏం టైప్ చేస్తున్నారో దాన్ని మొత్తాన్ని పారామీటరేషన్ చేయాలి. ఎందుకు చేయాలి, దట్ ఈస్ ద నెక్స్ట్ క్వశ్చన్. ఓకే, నెక్స్ట్ ఎందుకు చేయాలి అంటే, సి నేను ఫ్లిప్కార్ట్ మీద టెస్ట్ చేస్తున్నా, లెట్ అస్ అస్యూమ్ ఫ్లిప్కార్ట్ మీద టెస్ట్ చేస్తున్నా. ఏం చేస్తున్నారు, రికార్డ్ ఎన్నిసార్లు చేస్తారు మీరు, ఒకసారి రికార్డ్ చేస్తారు. వాట్ ఎవర్ ద స్క్రిప్ట్ యూ హ్యావ్ రికార్డెడ్ ఫర్ ద వన్స్, యు ఆర్ ఇటరేటింగ్ దట్ స్క్రిప్ట్ ఫర్ 100 యూజర్, 1000 యూజర్, 10,000 యూజర్, 1 lakh యూజర్, వాట్ ఎవర్ ద యూజర్ లోడ్ ఇట్ మే బీ, యు ఆర్ యూజింగ్ ద సేమ్ స్క్రిప్ట్. యు ఆర్ నాట్ యూజింగ్ డిఫరెంట్ స్క్రిప్ట్స్ ఓవర్ హియర్. ఓకే, దిస్ స్క్రిప్ట్ ఈస్ this script is for the Rajesh, this script is for the Bhaskar, this script is for...
Voice is breaking, sir.
Sorry?
Your voice is breaking, sir.
కట్ వస్తుంది.
కట్ వస్తుందా నౌ?
ఎస్, ఓకే ఓకే.
ఇప్పుడు కూడా అట్లానే వస్తుందా?
లేదు, బాగానే వస్తుంది.
ఓకే ఫైన్. మనం ఫ్లిప్కార్ట్ మీద పనిచేస్తున్నాం అనుకుందాం. సో ఫ్లిప్కార్ట్ నేను వాడుతున్నాను. ఓకే, సో రికార్డ్ చేస్తాం మనము. నేను స్క్రిప్ట్ రికార్డ్ చేస్తాను, JMeterలో రికార్డ్ చేస్తాను. సో దిస్ స్క్రిప్ట్ ఫర్ యూజర్ 1, దిస్ స్క్రిప్ట్ ఈజ్ యూజర్ 2, దిస్ స్క్రిప్ట్ ఈజ్ ఫర్ యూజర్ 3. అలాగా మీరు 100 మంది టెస్ట్ చేస్తూ ఉంటే 100 మందికి 100 స్క్రిప్ట్లు రెడీ చేయం మనం. వీల్ ప్రిపేర్ ఓన్లీ 1 స్క్రిప్ట్ అండ్ వీల్ ఇటరేట్ ద సేమ్ స్క్రిప్ట్ ఫర్ 100 users or 1000 user or 1 lakh user, whatever the user it may be. So we can use the same script for all the users. So therefore మీరు 100 మంది టెస్ట్లతో 100 మంది యూజర్తో టెస్ట్ చేయాలి. అప్పుడు మనం ఏం చేయాలి, సో 100 credentials షుడ్ బి దేర్ విత్ యూ. ఎందుకు, సో రియల్ టైంలో ఎలా ఉంటుంది, సో లెట్ us assume you are testing this Flipkart application. So there is a login scenario. Okay, so you are testing this login scenario with 100 users. So there should be 100 credentials, 100 mobile numbers will be there, 100 passwords will be there. So then only we can test our application. If not, you cannot test. You can test with a single user as well. ఓకే, 100 మందికి ఒకే క్రెడెన్షియల్స్ ఇచ్చి మీరు టెస్ట్ చేయొచ్చు, బట్ దట్ ఈస్ నాట్ ద రియలిస్టిక్ ఎన్విరాన్మెంట్. ఓకే, సో రియల్ టైంలో ఎలా ఉంటుంది, నేనున్నాను, ఓకే, నేను యాక్సెస్ చేస్తున్నాను, ఐఎమ్ యాక్సెసింగ్ మై ఫ్లిప్కార్ట్ అప్లికేషన్. ఐ డూ హ్యావ్ మై ఓన్ క్రెడెన్షియల్స్, నాకు ఓన్ క్రెడెన్షియల్స్ ఉంటాయి, యూజర్ నేమ్, పాస్వర్డ్. ఓకే, somebody like you are using your Flipkart application. So for you also there is separate credentials will be there like username and password. So like that each and every guy, so there is a separate credentials. సో ఇక్కడ 100 మంది మనం టెస్ట్ చేసేటప్పుడు there should be 100 credentials. That is the realistic environment. So what I am doing here, in order to create realistic environment in the testing environment, so what we need to do, so we need to use the actual data. ఓకే 100 మంది అంటే 100 మంది క్రియేట్ పెట్టుకోవాలి, 50 మంది అంటే 50 డేటా కావాలి. ఆ డేటా మనం అందరినీ ఎట్లా చేస్తాము, ఎలా ఇటరేట్ చేస్తాము అంటే యూజింగ్ పారామీటరేషన్ కాన్సెప్ట్ వీ కెన్ ఇటరేట్. ఓకే, సో ఒక స్క్రిప్ట్ ఒకడికి, ఇంకో స్క్రిప్ట్ ఇంకొకటికి, అలా కాకుండా ఒకే స్క్రిప్ట్ని 100 మందికి, 1000 మందికి, 1,00,000 మందికి, ఎంతమందికి అయినా సరే వీ కెన్ యూజ్ ద సేమ్ స్క్రిప్ట్ అగైన్ అండ్ అగైన్. సో దాట్ వీ కెన్ డూ using parameteration concept. Okay, so for that purpose what we can do, so we need to use this CSV dataset config. Okay, so we need to use CSV dataset config. Why? Because whenever you are having the multiple sets of data, at the time you need to go with CSV dataset config only. So there is no second option to do, okay, parameterization. Whenever you are having the single sets of data, at the time you can use user defined variable for the parameterization. Single sets of data, what is multiple sets of data, I will tell you now. Single set of data means, so here the Flipkart is same, the URL, Flipkart URL is same for all the user. మీరు 100 మందితో చేయండి, 1000 మంది చేయండి, 1,00,000 మందితో చేయండి, the URL is same for all the users. So I can call this is a single entity, single set of data. Okay, so coming to login. Okay, so coming to login, this is not single entity. So whenever you are performing the login, so for the user 1 there is a separate credentials will be there, user number 2 separate credentials will be there, user number 3 separate credentials will be there. So like that for the user to user, the credentials it may vary, it may change. So therefore, so this is to do the parameteration for this username and password. So that is multiple sets of data will be there, we need to use CSV dataset config. ఓకే, మీకు ఒక్కడే ఉన్నాడు యూజర్ అనుకుంటే ఎస్ యూ కెన్ యూజ్ యూజర్ డిఫైన్డ్ వేరియబుల్. బట్ ఇన్ అవర్ కేస్, ఇన్ ద రియలిస్టిక్ ఎన్విరాన్మెంట్, సో వెన్ ఎవర్ యు ఆర్ టెస్టింగ్ ఎనీ అప్లికేషన్, ఓకే, సో అట్ ద టైమ్, సో డిపెండ్స్ ఆన్ యువర్ కస్టమర్ రిక్వైర్మెంట్. సో వీ నీడ్ టు టెస్ట్ లైక్ 100 మందా, 1000 మందా, 1,00,000 మందా అని. సో బేస్డ్ ఆన్ దట్ వీ నీడ్ టు క్రియేట్ ద యూజర్స్. మీకు 100 మంది అయితే 100 మందిని క్రియేట్ చేయాలి, 50 అయితే 50 మంది యూజర్స్ డీటెయిల్స్ ఉండాలి మీ దగ్గర, 1,00,000 మంది అయితే సో 1,00,000 మందికి సంబంధించిన డేటా మనకు ఉండాలి. సో మనం డేటా అనేది క్రియేట్ చేసుకోవాలి. ఓకే, సో దట్ డేటా యూ షుడ్ బి లోడెడ్ ఇన్ టు ద CSV file. So I will tell you tomorrow how you can do that and all. So that is the big concept. Okay, CSV dataset config, and that is very important too as well, important. Okay, so today you practice this one, how you can do the parameteration and all, then you can get some idea on that. So tomorrow I can take forward to you. Okay, so within the single shot, if I injected a total in a single shot, you cannot understand, you might be confused. Okay, so I don't want to confuse you. Today practice. Okay, today you can practice on the user defined variable. Tomorrow I will tell you how you can do the parameterization using multiple sets of data, I mean CSV dataset config. So I will show you tomorrow. Okay, so coming to, so far whatever I have been discussed, I will raise few important questions, right? So directly they will ask you in the interview, what is parameterization? Okay, what is parameterization? Why we need to do the parameterization? So direct question they will ask you in the interview. Okay, so whatever the static input you are giving to the server, or whatever the input you are giving to the server by typing using your keyboard, so that can be parameterized. While recording your script, so whatever you have been typed, so those should be stored in the JMeter script. So we need to identify those parameters and we need to do the parameterization for those. Okay, again here we need to identify which is the single entity and where it is required, like multiple inputs and all. The URL is the single entity, so therefore we can parameterize the URL using user defined variable. And coming to multiple sets of data, like your login, okay, your login, search field, such kind of things and all, what we can do, so there multiple sets of data will be there. So therefore we can use the CSV dataset config to do the parameterization for that. Okay, so and why parameterization required means, okay, in the testing environment we need to simulate the real time environment. Okay, so in order to create the realistic environment in the testing environment, so we should go with the parameterization. So why? Because you can test your script with n number of users. using a single entity, but that is not realistic environment. ఓకే, 100 మంది యూజర్స్ కూడా మీరు ఒకే క్రెడెన్షియల్స్ ఇవ్వచ్చు. యూ కెన్ గివ్ వన్ క్రెడెన్షియల్ లైక్ J2EE, సో యూ కెన్ ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ విత్ 100 యూజర్స్. ఓకే, బట్ that is not realistic environment. In the realistic environment, let us assume your application is using by 100 users. So 100 users are having 100 credentials, 100 usernames will be there, 100 passwords will be there. That is the realistic environment. Coming to in our case, what we are doing here, we are generating 100 users, but we are giving only one username and password. That is not correct. That is not realistic environment. So therefore, in order to create the realistic environment in the testing environment, so we are doing the parameterization. Okay, we'll identify the parameters, which and all are the single entity and which and all are the multiple entities, and according to that, so you can go with CSV dataset config, or you can go with user defined variable. Okay, so user parameters, obviously we cannot use that one, and I will tell you why you cannot use and all. I will tell you that as well. Okay, tomorrow we'll discuss about user defined variable, this one CSV dataset config and user parameters. Those two I'll explain tomorrow. Okay, so yeah, that's all for the day. Today I'm stopping over here. So if you are having any doubt, yes, you can pitch in and you can ask me. Okay, I'll explain.